Hey, this is Dan McCarthy with the Scientific Games Group. This video will be covering the external factor evaluation for the gambling industry related to scientific games. We evaluated the external environment using a steeple analysis for the general economic environment and a Porter analysis to focus in on the specific industry as shown in the prior videos. This external analysis will consist of the factors with the highest weighted score in our external factor evaluation table. Our external factor evaluation table took factors that affect the macro environment from the steeple analysis and factors that affected the industry from the Porter analysis. We took these factors and assigned them a weight, with 0 being the least important and 1 being the most important. All the weights in the table have to add up to 1. After the weights are assigned to each factor, a score is assigned to the factor, which is a measure of how well Scientific Games is dealing with this factor. The scale is between 1 and 4, with a score of 1 meaning the company does not have a strategy to take advantage of the opportunity or threat, and 4 meaning that Scientific Games does have a good strategy to deal with the factor. The following factors have the highest weighted score. Our largest weighted score factor was that the industry requires very large capital requirements. This means that in order to enter the gambling industry, a company must face fixed costs that must be distributed among a large number of products in order to minimize the unit costs of the products that are being made. The weight that we assigned this factor, which is in the Porter New Entrants section of the EFE, was 0.06. This is seen as an opportunity for Scientific Games since they are already one of the largest producers of gambling products and they have a big enough production mass to take advantage of the economies of scale. This is why we assess Scientific Games a score of 4 when it comes to how well Scientific Games deals with this factor. The factor that was second highest weighted is that companies who sell gambling products need repeat customers in order to continue to grow, since there are a small amount of buyers in the industry. This factor was weighted at 0.07, which is one of our higher weights because of the necessity of repeat customers in an industry where there is not much new market share. This factor falls into the Porter analysis section as a power of buyers factor in our EFE. Scientific Games has continued to lock up 4-year contracts with state governments and have received multiple awards for their quality of service from their customers. This is why we rated them at a 3 for their effectiveness at dealing with this factor. Because Scientific Games has been so successful in maintaining relationships with customers, we labeled this factor as an opportunity for the company. The macroeconomic factor that scored well for Scientific Games in our EFE was that cybersecurity leaks continue to increase, with cyber hackers becoming smarter and finding more ways to hack into companies' databases. Producers of computer equipment and security products must combat this. That being said, we gave the threat of cybersecurity hacks a weighting of 0.06, with Scientific Games receiving a score of 3. We decided that Scientific Games has dealt well with cybersecurity because they have recently acquired a cybersecurity company in order to combat these threats. This factor was part of the steeple analysis in the technology section. The next opportunity that Scientific Games is presented with is that over half of the world's population that has internet access participates in some form of online gambling each year. With the internet becoming more available to people across the world, Scientific Games can tap into a new market, which is rare for the gambling industry. This opportunity was part of our Porter analysis in the Power of Buyers section. It received a weight of 0.06, and Scientific Games received a score of 3. Since they have been developing a new product that will create an online gambling platform for companies to use. Another macroeconomic factor that provides as an opportunity for Scientific Games came from our steeple analysis in the economics section. This is that the global GDP is expected to expand at a rate of 4%. This suggests that more people will have discretionary income to spend at casinos and on online gambling platforms. This factor received a weight of 0.06 because it will affect the financial position of end users of Scientific Games' products, and Scientific Games received a score of 3 because they are currently in a position to expand their market share with the launch of their new products and because casinos will need new machines as casino traffic increases. The final factor that we focused on in our EFE is a threat that comes from the Porter Rivals section of our matrix. This is that companies that do not bring new ideas to the industry will become irrelevant and not have a chance of competing in the industry that needs to be ever evolving. This received a score of 0.05 because most companies in the industry have a niche of products, but also try to take others' market share by making superior products than their competitors. Scientific Games received a score of 3 for this factor because they are known to be innovators in the industry and continue to buy companies that have new and different products to avoid being pushed out of the market from new companies. The previous 6 factors were those that had the highest weighted score in our external factor evaluation. That being said, there are many factors that will affect Scientific Games, and these are the ones that Scientific Games is doing the best at handling. This is why many of the weights of the factors are low, as we spread the weight of 1 throughout 25 factors. Many of the factors we took into account had an equal impact on Scientific Games and the gambling industry, but these 6 were the ones that Scientific Games has reacted to in the best ways. That is our external factor evaluation. Thanks for watching.